Get behind right out of the gate. Yes, we're good.
Finance Committee meeting January 27th, 2025. Counselor Smith,
Here.
Waltney,
He's here outside.
Allemon, Brandt,
Here.
Harden.
Here.
All right. So
Okay,
we
and
got-
Carlos texted me a second ago and said that he was delayed, but he should be here, so I don't know if he's gonna make it in time for the meeting or not. We shall see. Okay, first, can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of our minutes for the meeting from January 6th?
I'll make a motion.
So moved. Second.
Okay, all right, a motion from Mr. Brandt, a second from Mr. Harden. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 3-0, those are approved. Okay, old business, okay, I'm gonna actually, start on our second page, with item 180125, which is actually new business. A request to present our insurance renewal from Morgan and Pyburn at Cobb's Allen, and they are.
They're in the lobby.
Are y'all ready? Yes, ma'am. All right. This is not a change in money. This is simply a renewal of our contract with Cobb's Allen. So y'all come on up and.
Where do you want us to go?
Just right here.
Would y'all like, here are the
Oh.
proposals.
Okay, all right.
So, you
Yeah.
wanna take one and pass it?
There's a difference between the black ones and the blue ones. and the white ones.
That was,
It's just colorful.
our printer, you know, our very large expensive printer broke, so.
Huh?
Got to go to,
John Michael went to CVS and got the last,
Cleaned them out.
that's called stick-to-itiveness, getting it done.
I do need one of those.
Here. Here's my-
Thanks, Bo.
You're welcome.
All right, hey, if we could get some of the background chatter a little bit down so we can hear Margaret.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, this is a
Floor is
renewal
yours.
for your, all of the insurance. And, probably the page I wanna look at is the premium spend comparison, which is it's page 4. It did go up a little bit. We also have, I'll go over the, option 1 and option 2, cause that has to do with the crime coverage. Not surprisingly, Travelers decided with the large crime, claim that Homewood had this year, that, they only wanted to offer 25,000 instead of 500,000. So I said, well, that's not gonna work. So we went out to the marketplace and we got some options. It's really better coverage, actually. I mean, it checks more boxes and it gives you a more broad coverage, and it's not that expensive. So, I mean, it's a little bit more, but
Not
I
enough
think
to-
you have to have it.
Yes. Hopefully
I
we
don't
will
think-
never, ever need it again, but you're
No.
right.
But we don't want 25,000, and that's,
Right.
if y'all will look down here under the coverage crime, you were paying $3,700 last year with Travelers for 500,000.
Okay.
And, you know, they paid limits out of 500,000.
Yeah.
And so the two options are, you have an option for $1 million, that's at 9663.
What page are you on?
I'm on page 4.
Like this
This
says
one.
premium.
So you have the option of $1 million, which is over here at 9663, or 7706, which is 500,000, which is what you currently, or, you know, had last year.
Okay,
So I would probably just go back with the 500,000,
okay.
unless y'all think you need $1 million. I don't think you do.
No, We're gonna be optimistic and say, no,
So,
we're not.
but I also don't think you want to, I mean, I wouldn't just go with 25,000.
No, that does not.
I don't think that's-
Because I think that could be,
I mean,
a
we
bad
recommend more than that for all of our commercial clients, just that doesn't, we
Right.
need it. Even though people say, oh, they're so nice and we know them and we go to church with them, I'm like, well, those are the ones you need to watch out for.
and that is not, so this is
Unfortunately.
not with Travelers, it's with a
It
different
is not with
carrier.
Travelers, it's with Hiscox.
Okay,
Yep.
Who?
all right.
Hiscox, Hiscox. They're a, they're a company that we use a lot, so just not somebody you
No,
hear.
they're not going out of business. That's next week.
No.
Maybe the following week, but not next
No,
week.
no, not next week, not next year.
All right.
And so I wanted to just, I know this is a lot for y'all to look over and dig through, so I wanted to kind of go over the highlights. Overall, the premium increased about 6.8%, which is not terrible based on what we're seeing. A lot of that is in the property. They did increase some deductibles, which is something else we're also seeing across the board. Just they're asking, these insurance companies are asking clients like you to take on more of a risk.
Yeah.
So the auto and general liability deductibles went up to 25,000.
Where is that?
That is on page, it's on the auto.
Oh, property coverage,
Yep.
got it.
Commercial auto is page 36.
Oh, okay. Way back.
So, and they're highlighted on here. So it went from, the deductibles increasing on page 36, are y'all there?
Yeah, almost.
It increased from 10,000
To 25.
to 25, and this is on the liability portion.
Okay.
And then the GL, which is, I know I'm going all over the place, sorry y'all. The general liability is the couple of pages before that, on page 31. So the deductible last year was $10,000, now it's $25,000. And the professional lines,
I think I saw those.
I should just let you do this. It's at the very back.
Oh,
No?
okay.
There's too many pages in here.
It's a lot of
A lot
insurance.
of autos, there's the work comp, crime,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
cyber.
There it is.
There it
Okay.
is.
Law enforcement
Page
liability.
34. So the law enforcement liability, the
Oh, yeah.
deductible's going from 25 to 50.
Oh, wow.
Management.
Margaret Ann, let me make sure I understand. This is all travelers except for,
Except for Hiscox.
Except for
and they're just doing one part of a policy for us.
Correct.
crime,
Yeah.
the crime policy.
Okay,
Travelers is the one that said, we're only gonna give
Thanks.
you $25,000 on crime.
I understand,
Because they made a payment to us.
yeah,
They did not like that.
even though we paid them for years and years and years.
Yeah, and so on page 35, the public entity, the law enforcement's on 34, public
Yeah.
entity liability, both of those are increasing to 50,
Okay.
and that's it.
And you said that,
What about on page 12, going back to AOP deductible?
Yep, page 12 on the property.
100,000?
So 100,000 is the wind hail deductible, Jody. So they're giving you a flat deductible, which is much better. Some of my other clients, they're doing a 1% or a 2% deductible, which would be 1% or 2% of the building value, which is not good. That's a very, very large deductible. So this is a flat deductible. Granted, it's more than 25, but it's better than a percentage.
That's still a huge jump.
Mhm.
And did they?
That's pretty typical.
I mean,
And
did
it-
the
does it-
value, did the cost go down?
No. The cost of the building?
This is their new game.
Well,
That's
does
gonna raise.
it hurt that
what
we
we
have a
were
big
seeing.
storm? Did it hurt that we had a tornado?
It's a
No?
lot of things. I mean,
Okay.
it's the severe convective storms that are hitting everybody. It's, it's a lot of things. It's just not, and again, I mean, we're seeing this across the board. It's,
Yeah, every client.
Yeah.
and typically, I mean, usually the deductible, I know it went up, but the premium didn't go up a great deal. I mean, the deductible's kind of hard to stomach, but again, it's not a percentage. I mean, just to give you an example, I have a client out past Red Mountain Park, and I was going to the proposal like I was coming here tonight, and the underwriter called and said, oh, by the way, we're not gonna give you any wind and hail coverage at all on any of the property. And I'm like walking into a meeting like this and thinking, okay, well, could you have given me a little bit of notice? I mean, that's just what we're dealing with on our end. I mean, it's crazy, just because the carriers are paying so much money. I'm sure all of y'all are looking at your own personal homeowner's insurance, and it's
Yeah.
gone up. Deductibles are going up. I mean, they're raising, deductibles to put a wind and hail percentage on as well on those. So it's just, it's not good.
What is AOP out of ignorance?
I'm sorry, all other perils.
Gotcha.
So any other peril other than wind or hail. So think
Earthquake.
earthquake or flood. So think, interior water damage. That's another one that I feel like we're having a lot more problems with, is interior water damage claims. That, just once that water starts running, it gets up into the tens of thousands of, dollars pretty quickly.
All right.
What do you think we're not covered well on?
I don't really think anything, because, you know, the only thing I would have said you weren't covered well on was the crime. And I wasn't gonna come and just say, oh, Travelers just decided to decrease it to 25, and that's what we have. So, that's why we went out to the marketplace to try to find some options,
Yeah.
to get to y'all. And if you wanna look at that page, it is at the very end on page 52.
And have y'all, I just was looking at the cyber coverage. Have y'all been in contact with Brandon Sims to make
Mhm.
sure that he feels comfortable with all of that?
He
Okay.
emailed us today.
Okay,
Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
great. That's good to hear. I figured y'all had, but
Yeah.
just wanted to ask.
So if y'all wanna look, I mean, the limits are,
Okay.
you know, they're all the same. If you wanna go down here and look under, like under the Travelers, the current coverage where it says no coverage for
Yeah.
funds transfer, cyber deception, claims expense, we're giving you more coverage here, so you're getting more coverage.
Yeah.
What
page is that?
Page 52 and 53.
It says crime coverage at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I see there's several categories where current coverage says no coverage.
Right.
Okay.
So it's really, I think it's a better policy.
Okay. All right.
It's a little more money, but you're getting more coverage, and again,
And you're thinking option one is,
Sufficient.
I think so, you know.
Yes.
yes, okay. Yeah, I'm just looking, I'm just.
Especially with,
I'm
you know,
deep
with
in the
Lester
numbers.
being here and, you know, going
Yeah.
through all of the things and tightening everything up. I
Yeah.
mean, all the things that y'all are doing, and that's all great.
Yeah.
So getting a city manager is gonna help a great deal, so I think that you're in a good position. So I think the 500 is adequate.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Mike?
The deductibles apply to new claims, not to the existing.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Yeah, right. So claims that are already in process aren't subject to that. All right, does anybody else have any other questions?
And this starts February 1.
Mhm. Yes.
All right, if, there are not any other questions, can I get a motion to approve, the insurance renewal with Cobb's at Home? All right, motion from John, Mr. Harden?
I'll second. Are we gonna do option one though? We
Yes,
clarify
yeah,
that?
the option one.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. All right, second from, Mr. Brandt. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. And there are now 4 of us, so that is 4-0 to approve that insurance renewal. Thank y'all so much for
You're
doing that
welcome.
for
And if
us.
y'all have any questions after tonight, call
Can you
me.
tell me the name of the crime carrier?
Hiscox. Hiscox. Hiscox.
Hiscox Insurance?
Mhm. Yep.
And the resolution that was literally says Travelers, but it'll say Travelers and.
And Hiscox.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank y'all so
Thank y'all.
much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
And before I move to the next item, I do want to take a second, unfortunately, Carlos isn't here, but thank the members of the city manager committee, and also Brian and Bo, who helped organize and run those interviews last week. The committee interviewed 6 of our 8 candidates. We are interviewing 2 more tomorrow. Without Brian doing all of the technology stuff, I'm not sure any of us would have been able to make that happen. Maybe Andy, but he probably would have murdered us all after it was over. So just a big thank you to all of the committee members, because it was a huge time commitment. I think we spent about 6 hours over 2 days, and then we've got more to do tomorrow. So anyway, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who helped with that.
And I want to reiterate that point, because I'm the one that appointed you. So I appreciate all the time, and the live stream was really good, Brian. I mean, I've kind of stayed with it the whole way, so y'all are doing a great job. So I appreciate all the, and I know you did, there's a lot of work you did before the interview started, so it wasn't just that. You've been working around the clock, and I appreciate that, so thank you.
Thank you, Walter. We appreciate that. Okay, now on to old business. 131024, request for consideration of creating a Homewood beautification plan from the Homewood Beautification Board. Nick, do we have anything new and different tonight? We have the 3 proposals we know. So at some point, we just need to sit down with those and pour through them and decide who we want to go with, right? That's kind of where we are.
That's correct.
Okay.
I will reference though that Nancy Walburn, who's on the beautification board, is here this evening, so I didn't know if Nancy wanted to say anything or remark, or is just here to listen, but thanks Nancy for being here.
Do you
she's
wanna
worked with this project,
make any
so.
comments on?
No, I'm here to listen to what you all
Okay.
gleaned so far.
Okay, all right. Well, I will say tonight we are at a very accelerated
Yes.
time frame because we have a lot of items and not much time before we have a council
Sounds good.
meeting. So if everyone is okay, I think probably by our February 3rd committee meeting, we need to come in with some thoughts about what we want to do so that maybe we can move that out on February 10th. I mean, obviously right now is not ideal planting or doing any kind of design plan, but I think we should go ahead and decide what we want to do and move forward with that so that by the time the weather gives us a chance, we can hit the ground running on that. Because it is in the budget, so we can go ahead and get started at least.
Are we putting some kind of, I'll use the word spreadsheet together or something, that's not appropriate for this, but of the 3 groups and what we see as the benefits and good and bad and indifferent on those 3 proposals?
I think we have them all.
We have them all?
Yes.
Right.
You have them all.
Okay.
So
All right, I don't know.
If we needed to, what we can do is have Brian put
Okay.
them up on the screen and we can discuss
Yeah,
them.
maybe talk to
Yeah,
you,
yeah, apples to apples, oranges to oranges, whatever.
I don't have an opinion one way or the other.
Yeah, yeah, and I would love, input from the committee members, the beautification board members, if y'all
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
particular thought that like one of these is kind of more in line with what y'all are thinking, that
We
sort of
can
thing.
send that through Nick, or
Okay, yeah.
the next meeting or
For sure,
whatever.
absolutely.
I don't wanna speak for everybody.
Right, no, I think we would love to have y'all's input because y'all have been so involved in all of this. We wanna make sure that we're getting y'all the people that you wanna work with.
Yeah, and we're not gonna start planting, this is to design.
Yeah, right, to do the design, but I think we're just not, it's not a huge time crunch,
I
and we,
understand.
yeah, so I felt a little bit better about carrying it over tonight, just because we do have so many other crazy things going on tonight.
Got a lot on your plate.
But we will definitely do that, we'll get them up there on the screen
Okay.
so we can all talk about them. All right, so we're gonna carry over 13-10-24. 01-12-24, request, for consideration to modify council mayor salaries for 2025 to 2029 term from, Councilors Anderson Allemon. We have discussed this before. This is something that we have to pass in February in order for it to be done in time for the new council that will be elected in August. So, we don't have to make a motion, we don't have to send anything out tonight, but, I would like to go over the numbers that Jennifer got from several of her contacts through the JC3, and then I had some numbers from Alabaster, because I work with those guys down there. So just let's put those out there so that by February 3rd, when we come back into this room, we can decide on what we think is appropriate and go ahead and move that out so that we can get that passed in time for our February 10th meeting. Cam?
The numbers I have from Vestavia are $7,200 a year. Hoover is
All
$7,500.
right, this is for the council.
Council members.
All right, hold on.
Mhm.
7,200.
For Vestavia. Hoover is $7,500. And Trustful is $12,000.
And Alabaster is more in line with Trustful. They're at 13,000, and they are paid. They get paid every 2 weeks, so they're on a different pay schedule. But their total works out to $13,000 for council members, and I believe Jamie said that the council president receives $100 more than that per pay period. So whatever math that works out to be.
And their council president is the mayor?
No. They, in Alabaster, they have, they have a council with the council president being a member of the council. And it's rotated. Sophie's been the president, Greg Farrell's been the president. They've had different council members as president.
So we don't really have that position here?
No, it's different. It's
Okay.
different. I mean, and so I guess equitable, it would be like what, because the mayor is technically the council president, so do you want to pay the mayor in line with that, with some additional funds for, city-facing events?
Mhm.
Yeah, I would just say that the new mayor position is probably more in line with the council president position in Alabaster than it is the mayor position in Alabaster.
Right,
So if
But I'm
you're-
just saying, we don't have exactly that position
Correct,
Yeah.
correct, but I think you'd probably look more towards that position for whatever mayoral compensation you do, rather than
Yes.
the mayor position.
Because I'm pretty sure Mayor Breckfield probably makes in line with what we
Probably
pay
makes
here.
too much for what we're gonna.
Right, to be doing, right, because he's a part-time mayor as well, like we have here. And they do have a city administrator in Alabaster, but it's not a city manager. Brian Benzer is their city administrator.
And Mountain Brook is nothing.
Yes, they are considered a volunteer board.
I hear you, John.
Yeah, see, that's Andy's, sweet spot.
His dream.
And so I believe, when Walter had originally done just a basic, you had just done like a inflationary.
That's right.
Yes, and that was, I think that was 12,000, right? In that range, wasn't it? In
Yes,
the
it
12,000
was.
range.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that feels right, and I honestly, I feel like if the council members make $12,000, I think the mayor would be like 15. I don't feel like that's something that needs to be extraordinarily different, from the council members, because it is, like we said, gonna be more of a president of the council role. And there will be obviously some other, duties along with that have to do with like meeting with the mayor's association or those kind of things, and just doing some, city events. But I think by and large, the compensation is for that role as the council president.
And what do you think, the process is for us to kind of come to a conclusion?
I think we need to come to a consensus about what we feel is appropriate.
On this committee.
I think, the finance committee, and so that we can make a recommendation out to the full council, to get that done. Because I certainly think with the number reducing, and I think, Jennifer had done some math with Walter, that even with the increase in the salaries, with the decrease in the number of council people, we still come out
Oh, yeah.
less. Way,
$25,000,
pretty less,
yeah.
yeah, pretty significantly less.
Yeah.
So even raising the salaries puts us we're still gonna be paying less overall, because of the reduction in the number and the reduction, of course, in the mayor's salary. That's a big part of it.
So we don't wanna, we'll talk later, I guess, but.
No, I don't think we need to do it tonight. I don't
Okay.
think, but we have to do it by law, I think, Mike, right? We have to do it by our last meeting in February. It has to be done.
Probably would be preferable if you do it the 10th.
Right, yeah, it would be better if we do it on the 10th, but by law, we have to do it in the month of February in order for it to go into effect for those new
I
folks.
would make a motion to carry it, or.
Well, I'll just, if we don't have any objections to carrying it over, I'll carry it over. And I would just task everyone on the finance committee with, and I know, Andy would love it for it to zero out. But if everybody can come back on the 3rd with an idea of what they think is appropriate, and let's go ahead and move something out on the 3rd so that we can vote on it in council on the 10th. And certainly other members of the council who aren't on the committee, feel free to weigh in when we have that discussion on the 3rd. But we definitely have to do it by, like Mike said, it'd be much better if we got it done by the 10th. Okay, so I will carry over 01/12/24 in hopes that everybody comes back on the 3rd to make a decision on that. And then, 14/11/24, request for consideration to amend the tax incentive agreement with the Piggly Wiggly construction project from, Mayor Wyatt. They had planned on being here, but were unable to be here tonight, so we are gonna carry this over hopefully for a presentation at our February 3rd meeting. All right, new business 01/01/25, request to authorize the mayor to sign a contract with UES Professional Services for testing of concrete repairs to the City Hall Plaza. Mr. Pugh?
Yes, what this is, our consultant who's working on the building envelope and parking deck restoration project, identified some areas on the plaza that need to be chipped up and replaced, the topping slab. There are gonna be some change orders that involve some new concrete work. Those are not ready yet, those estimates have not come in, but that concrete being very specific type it's pretty critical that it be tested, as it's going in. So, this would be for a contract with a testing company.
Okay, so UES are gonna be conducting the test to make sure that it's,
And you're talking about a test to see how well it cures?
Yeah, a slump test is what they call it. They do, a workability test, a slump test, and there's one other. But they do specific tests because it's critical how this concrete is mixed so that it maintains the strength that it's required to have. Because vehicles, even though they're not supposed to normally drive on it, it is designed to handle that kind of weight.
right,
Do you
okay.
know how much we're talking about there, how much concrete?
Not offhand just yet. I'm waiting on some estimates to come back, and I will be coming to you with some change orders for that as well.
But this contract with UES, it says here, it's $5,000?
Yes.
And we'll be transferring that within line items in your department, right?
That's right.
From City Hall repair to the maintenance. Okay, yeah, okay, to account, yeah, building improvements capital, okay, that's what we got, okay,
So, can I ask one last question?
sure.
Can in the report, if they put a specific type of concrete or mixture down, can they provide us direction on the use? Like, should vehicles not be driving on the plaza at all unless it's an emergency response vehicle? Or is it okay for vehicles to drive on there?
I'll answer that. You have to have fire service to this building.
Right.
There's a fire pad.
Okay, so if a fire truck can do it, then.
It is equipped and designed engineering wise to accommodate a fire truck.
Okay.
And there's places where they put their outriggers there.
Yeah, I've seen the markings.
So you can fight fires for this building.
So, maybe everyday use then, just, I don't know, just looking for clarification on the concrete, because the wear and tear would be much greater if you're driving on it every day versus for an emergency response.
Certainly would, and there are delivery vehicles that come pretty much on a daily basis. You see them pop up out there, so, it gets used, even though it's not a drive-through.
Well, and we did limit that quite a bit with the bollards. Is there a way for us to, because to me, there's a difference in an emergency service vehicle coming on the plaza, a fire truck, an ambulance, what have you, as opposed to an Amazon delivery truck. Like, are they?
Wasn't it
2 times a day?
wasn't it originally designed for everyday vehicle usage? With the,
No, ma'am.
It was closed when
That's,
first
uh,
it just happened?
That's a tall tale by somebody that.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, I just am going by the way it was used.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah, no.
you're right, there was a period of time where it was used that way, but that was not the original intent. The
Oh.
original intent was that it would be limited to emergency vehicles.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, the only reason it's there, if you go back to look through the history, is for the fire truck.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the reason that's the reason that any vehicular traffic is allowed right there.
And that's why we erected the bollards, was to stop that,
But it
because
was.
it
correct-
became a.
Correct, because it's a pedestrian plaza. is
Right,
what it's-
yeah,
What it
yeah.
was designed to be.
So I guess my question is there a way, Mike, for us to prevent that?
But we already permit that. We have an ordinance for it.
Right, well, are they just taking the bollards out and driving on up?
I think that's probably not something,
It's-
I'll be happy to look into that, because I think that's an
Okay.
enforcement issue, not a
Okay,
policy issue.
okay, fantastic, all right. Okay, so, I guess, can I get a motion to approve, doing the contract for the UES, concrete testing?
So moved.
All right. Motion from Mr. Gwaltney, second from Mr. Harden. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
4-0. That is gonna go out to council tonight. 020125, request to surplus filing cabinets and miscellaneous, finance department items from Mr. Smith, our finance director, and we have a list, that was given to us.
See, it's right there, very highlighted.
Yeah. So, 10 filing cabinets, a couch, 3 desk floor mats, and some, a broken vacuum cleaner, and some assorted other, office furniture type and a laser printer. So this is an ordinance, to surplus these items. Can I get a motion to approve the surplusing of these items?
Somebody.
Second.
All right, motion from Mr. Harden, second from Mr. Gwaltney. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. 4-0, that is approved. Okay, 030125, request to upgrade accounting assistant 2 position to a revenue examiner. This is coming to us from Mr. Segrist in the city clerk's office.
Sit down, John. So I have a young lady that has started in my office. She started back in August, and she's been working as an accounting assistant too. And there's another young lady in my office, Miss Julie Hambley, who is a revenue officer currently. And they have been going out and been doing the collections of delinquent business license and finding lost revenue. Since this young lady has started in my office, since August, they have collected over $180,000 in lost revenue since she started. Her and Miss Hambley combined through the past year in 2024 found over $740,000 of lost revenue. So I'm asking the committee tonight to please upgrade this accounting assistant position to a revenue officer's position. Miss Middlebrooks has went to the personnel board. She has passed the test. She is on the list. She's ranked in the top 10. The salary for this to upgrade this position will be a complete even swap. The accounting, I feel that I don't need an accounting position in my office. I feel like 2 revenue officers serves the city clerk's office and the city the best. It's the most efficient. And so I'm asking the council to please let me have this upgrade. And not right now, but being a new department head, I missed an opportunity back when we were doing the budget. My old position, the senior revenue examiner position, I still have it, but I forgot to include it in my budget. And I would like, in the upcoming year in October, I would like, for the record, I want the minutes to reflect that I am going to be coming to the council to ask that Miss Julie Hambley be promoted to senior revenue examiner. She will be a certified revenue officer in October. She graduates from the University of Alabama, and I would like to promote her to the senior revenue. It's my fault that I would be asking for it tonight, but I wasn't able because I neglected to leave that in my budget. And in order for me to put that in my budget, it would send me $24,000 negative. And so I want to table that and get that for first priority when I come to you in September. So that's all. Thank you.
And I will just say that, to echo what Bo has said, Ava and Julie have been working tirelessly, and they have been amazing and have really brought the city a lot of money from those unrecovered business licenses. So they've really been doing a fantastic job. Y'all heard?
So you're asking tonight for us just to deal with Ms. Middlebrooks?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And basically, I mean, it's essentially a title change.
Yes.
From an accounting assistant to a revenue examiner.
I'll make a motion.
All right. Motion from Mr. Brandt, second from Mr. Gwaltney. All in favor, say aye. Aye. 4-0. I'm very excited.
Thank you.
Ava is fantastic. Okay, 040125, request to authorize the mayor to sign a contract with Gossett Construction to install a sidewalk along the west side of 700-800 block of Columbiana Road. Councilor Sims and Cale Smith, and this is on the back side of the edge from the neighborhood, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, so on the left is the edge lot where it backs up to Columbiana Road, and JJ is here, and Councilor Sims and I met, the three of us met out here and kind of talked about providing pedestrian access around Columbiana to the edge. On the east side of the street, there is currently a sidewalk, but there is none on the west side. And so we would put a mid-block crossing with rapid flashing beacons and a crosswalk in what I call the sag. So the end of the sidewalk at the north end would tie into the existing sidewalk that JJ installed for the edge and would come to here and cross. There have been plantings behind the edge, but Fletcher with Curb Appeal did those, and so we would just have him go out and relocate the existing plantings. This proposal is to sign a contract with Gossett Construction for $15,000 $128.
To put in the sidewalk and to
Sidewalk.
add the cross.
So Randy will do the crosswalk out of his, on local forces, and I would pay for the rapid flashing beacons.
So it's gonna be 15 plus the cost of the rapid.
We have a crosswalks budget.
So where exactly is that, I mean, I'm for it, but I mean, where's it going in? Is it
Yeah,
gonna
do
be by-
you have a street view of that?
Is that by the tire, Omega Tire? or-
No, it's
No,
on the
no, no, it's
backside.
further down.
There's some houses that all run along Columbiana to the right as you're going north on it, and on the left is like like you said, the edge, and Omega Tire. It's on that backside of it.
But they aren't gonna go all the way to Omega Tire.
Right. I think Brian's working on pulling up and.
A street view.
Yeah, that's right.
Mr. Smith, there is an ADA ramp on the east side now, is that what that says? I guess I should put my glasses on.
No, here, no.
Is he adding one?
It's adding to
You're
it.
adding, so Gaza will add one on the east side as well?
Yes.
Okay, great.
There's an existing sidewalk over here.
Yeah.
So he'll just tie that into it.
And this doesn't do anything to the, I think I can see it on your drawing, is that the metal gate, whatever that metal railing is, that the sidewalk comes out
Right.
behind the metal grating now, if I remember correctly, right?
Yes.
This protecting you from the creek, it'll come and route behind that, right, and go south.
So we're south of the creek.
Yeah, but the sidewalk for the edge right now comes out behind the protective railing.
Brian, can we go to the
Brian,
back?
you're
This
on the
is,
wrong
this is the
side.
Green Springs side. We're on the Columbiana Road side behind.
Sorry.
So,
Okay.
Counselor Gwaltney, to your.
I'm just making sure I've kept my
Yeah,
positioning right.
I think the aerial will help, but to your point, so on the opposite side of Columbiana, you're walking down past the sidewalk connection behind the edge, and then hitting the mid-block crossing, and then the new sidewalk connects back.
Yeah.
Cause you kinda have to dog leg around that railing.
Yeah,
And
that's
and
what
it-
I meant.
Yeah,
I thought it was behind I was just trying to make sure I knew where we're at.
yeah.
'Cause I've
And,
seen the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought.
We couldn't do the sidewalk
There we
on
go.
the other
There we
side
go.
of Columbiana because of,
Yeah, the creek. And
yeah, and honestly, there's a blind spot visibility wise, this mid-block crossing is.
All right, so it would go down
preferred.
this
So
side.
so the crosswalk would be here where this car is.
Got it, okay.
Right here,
Yeah.
and we would add the sidewalk on this side of the road.
Yeah, okay.
There's currently a sidewalk over here.
Right, and to tie into that sidewalk.
So the
Gotcha.
townhomes are back this way on the left.
It's back behind us on the left, that's correct.
So I mean, it's a natural fit then.
And I think the neighbors will appreciate being able to get over to the edge without having to.
Julian Kirsch will be happy.
Yes, Julian Kirsch will be very happy, although he can just walk across the street. All right.
Can I ask one more question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, please.
There's a sidewalk for those townhouses now. How many more feet is it to go up and just finish it off, like all the way up to those townhomes?
Yeah.
Because there stops in that thicket of trees. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Because I was walking through the other
Yeah,
day.
that seems like we ought to just connect the whole
I
thing.
mean, why not just go ahead and finish? Because on the northern end, you can't go beyond that guardrail because it's the creek. You
Right.
can't put a sidewalk on the west side.
That's right.
That's what I was trying
I
to
think
do.
you'd have to figure out, is that right there where is that a low area right there?
I don't, there is right here.
I mean, it just seems like.
But we could
why would we
figure it
leave a
out.
gap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Why wouldn't we
So
connect?
you're talking maybe 1.5 times more distance to get all the way down? Maybe a little longer?
You know,
Not trying to spend money here. I
No.
feel like Alex is shooting daggers at me right
No,
now.
Counselor Gwaltney, to this point,
The money tree outside.
yeah,
Yeah, I know, right.
there are some other gaps in sidewalk along this block, for example, along Carr between Columbiana and Green Springs, so on the Salvation Army side, which I would like to consider in the future, but at this point is beyond, current budget considerations. But like that sidewalk right there ends before you get to
Yeah.
Salvation. I'd like to see it go all the way to Green Springs in the future as well. So to that aspect, I agree with you about making these connections. I don't know how much we can put in the budget right now, but I think it's a great idea.
What I would suggest is, why don't you consider what's before you right now? And then we'll send Kale out to look at the rest of it, and if we need to do another agenda item to connect
Yeah.
one way or the other, we can talk about that.
Do it in the day, council after night.
And my apologies, I'm not
No,
on
go-
the committee.
go on, go right
I want to also, if it's okay, I know that JJ's in communication regarding the property that is nearest Columbiana and the future development of it. If he could have an opportunity to maybe talk about what's in the short term for it and how this may, impact that property as well.
Yeah, I'm happy to, in case it's relevant. So I sold the back 2.2 acres here to Homewood Community Church. We're currently meeting an exceptional foundation. We outgrew the dance foundation, we outgrew the exceptional foundation, and we turned 6 years old in February. So they have a builder, they have architect, they're moving forward, but it's still gonna be a couple of years. But they will eventually build a church and parking lot, and it'll be, probably 400 to 600 people every Sunday meeting there. So that's what's coming back here. And then we have the sidewalk. I will just add to Kel's point, the reason I brought it up to Councilor Sims and Kel, we have a lot of moms that bring strollers in the mornings, and right now when they cross, because of that guardrail, like cars cannot see them around that curb, and you really can't see cars, but they want to cross at the closest point because our sidewalk is back here by the drainage canal. So if you cross right at the end of those guardrails, you're kind of just playing a little Russian roulette with the cars coming around.
Yeah.
So that's why I think Kel determined it was important to bring the crosswalk further, have the illuminated lights. And then as you pointed out, I think a lot of the community, there's some really good neighbors back there that we can also get to chime in, that they have been asking for it, and I think they'd really appreciate it. And we have a lot of fun community events, all free, like the Homewood Winter Media Sports is 400 to 600 athletes and their parents coming in a week or two. A lot of them would love to ride bikes and walk, and we've been told it's somewhat difficult for them to do so. But to your point, Nick, that's what's coming in the back. It'll be filled in, and again, another community building.
JJ, just as a point of question, will the church have an access from their parking lot to Columbiana Road?
What do we put on there?
No. Okay.
No is the answer.
Okay.
And we put it in the report.
Okay.
We would like one, but we'd have to come back to the city, get special permission, so.
I was just seeing if that would be a disruption to the sidewalk if they were gonna then plan on come in and put in a.
The answer is no, there won't be
Okay.
vehicular access. We
Okay.
are looking at, since I'm here, the church is looking at acquiring the parking lot across from the canal. So instead of building more parking, which we don't really want more concrete parking lots, if we buy the existing parking lot, put a bridge over that canal.
And just use that.
And now cars and pedestrians can just use that when they need it for the church. It's already there, and we're not filling more grass with concrete.
Okay.
So we're in the process of that, and I'm just helping them.
Okay, awesome.
That's it.
All right, well, thank you, JJ.
Thank you.
All right, does anybody have any further questions, or would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion for approval.
Second.
All right, motion for Mr. Gwaltney, second for Mr. Harden. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 4-0, that is approved to go to council. 0501-25, request to authorize the mayor to sign a contract with Great Southern Recreation for a playground surfacing and equipment at Salter Road Pocket Park. Mr. Smith, hallelujah. Let's hear it.
City engineer drew the short straw on this one. Never imagined that I would be doing this 4 years ago. So, Salter Road Pocket Park was a capital project a couple of years ago. It finished. We added in space for the playground. The reason why nothing has happened on the playground is because we submitted a grant to ADEM for playground surfacing. In that process, we had to vet a bunch of different playground surfacing manufacturers, and we landed on Great Southern Rec. So, grant got approved in December. We went to work with Great Southern Rec to figure out timelines and all that, and we said, by the way, we want to put some playground equipment in here. Great Southern Rec has been good to work with. They really gave us two decent options. The playground's not that big, so we can't squeeze a lot of equipment in there. But these are the two options. One, Celebration Spinner, I think is the name of this thing, and we've got other cut sheets further down, Brian. And then it's either going to be what they call a Cloud 9 swing, or the kind of swings that we probably swung on when we were kids.
The typical, yeah.
Andy's got the youngest kids, which one would they want?
Go down, Brian.
And the spinner thing is very similar to what is in Central Park Playground. It's ground level so that it's actually pretty accessible for people.
There.
Yeah.
It's ground, yeah, it's 0 entry, so
Yeah.
if you're in a chair, you can get it in it and spin
Yeah.
around. All right, Brian, keep going. So really the two options are, this is the Cloud
9, yeah.
9 over here, and they just look like they're having so much fun. And so either option 1 or option 2, these are the 2 options.
And Kale, if we were to do the more traditional swing set, would there be an opportunity to do one of the adaptive swings, at least for one of those? Because I know, you know, I've heard from people saying if we're going to do the surface that's accessible for people with all kinds of mobility issues, if we had an adaptive swing.
I don't know that we can do an adaptive swing on this.
On this, okay.
Yep. I know that we can change out the seat and put in like a baby seat or whatever.
Yeah, like the kind that have the straps, okay.
That's
So
right.
we might not be able to do the full-size adaptive like we have at Central Park.
Yep.
Yeah, it won't be big enough.
Okay,
You
okay.
better off to come in on that one. You're gonna get better use out of the option 2, because you can come in with the parent baby swing.
Yeah.
So the parent can sit with the child and swing, and then
Right.
leave the other one as a regular.
Yeah.
It'll give you a lot more options. The circular one's great, but I mean, it's mainly for older kids.
Well, and I will say, and I kind of agree with you too. It seems like that's more usable for more people than that, because that's just like, you know,
Right.
1 kid at a time or 2 kids at a time, but if that, you can have multiple family groups kind of using something. Okay. All right, so, and what is our cost?
Keep going down, Brian, please.
Oh, there we go, I got it.
Yeah, right here, option 1, the Cloud 9 is 39, and the Celebration Spinner is 39,228.
Right.
And then the one with the other swing is 28,000.
Option 2.
We always like the less expensive option. No, I think option 2 looks really good.
And that's also putting that surface down.
Yeah, so these prices don't include the surfacing, but we got the surfacing funded through a grant.
Through the grant, yeah, the grant, and it is like reused tires, right?
It's
made from
recycled tires.
Yeah, so it's an environmentally friendly option and covered by a grant, which is nice.
And you will make one of them a baby seat for smaller kids.
I've talked to Rusty a whole bunch of times
Okay.
about
Thank
this
you.
stuff. So first thing was like the colors. So we're going with a green and brown scheme like they have at Central.
Yeah.
And then Rusty said that they can just change out the strap and put in
A baby seat.
another seat, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that would be good. I think that'd be a good thing, to have one typical and one baby seat. That'd be good. And I will say this, having heard from numerous neighbors who have been waiting on this for a very long time, I think people are gonna be very excited to see this happening.
Okay.
I'll make a motion for approval of option 2.
Okay?
Second.
Motion for Mr. Baltney, second for Mr. Harden. All in favor, please say aye. Aye, 4-0, that is approved, hallelujah. Okay. It was, Gwaltney and Harden. Okay.
I think, yeah.
Okay. 160125, request to consider professional services related to payroll, Mr. Smith and Alex White.
I think I'm gonna start.
Yes, yeah.
You can follow up with Mr. Smith with any specifics. So as we continue to work on things in the finance department, one of the things that we have talked about doing and been meeting about is outsourcing our payroll, which would be advantageous for a number of reasons. It would obviously take some of the load off the people over there, which is not insignificant. But it would also provide us with better protections for payroll by having people who only do this do it. There are also some HR options that can come along with it that I think, particularly in onboarding, that I think will be helpful for the city. That's not really something we have centralized right now. So this would offer us a number of benefits that we don't currently have. What we have talked about doing is doing an RFP for this, and we're planning on having that go out tomorrow, and you'll have the last bit of it, I'm told, tonight or first thing in the morning. So hopefully it will go out tomorrow, which would allow it to come back and us to do this, to talk about this on, my dates are messed up in my head now. We'll have it, let us talk about it at the next committee meeting on the 3rd, and then have it, and then assuming that there's a recommendation, it could go out for approval on the 10th, because getting this done sooner.
The bids won't be due on the 3rd.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking, it's 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks, I'm sorry.
So they
it
wouldn't be due
They
until
would-
the 10th.
Due on the 10th. We would talk about it in committee on the 17th
Yeah.
and then go out on the 24th.
Yeah.
So doing this is sooner rather than later is important, because we've got some encode stuff that's going on at the same time and we need to coordinate all that. So, we would like to stay on schedule with this. And we know of a few groups that are interested in submitting. There may be more that submit, which is fine. But so that's what we're doing, and then I'm happy to answer any questions, or Mr. Smith can answer any questions that anybody has about it. But right now, all we're doing is just approving sending out an RFP for this.
You just set the bid date for February 10th.
Yeah.
Do we have a payroll clerk currently, or would we change our
So payroll is
staff?
we don't have someone dedicated to payroll, or that their classification is dedicated to payroll, so we wouldn't have to change the staff, but it would free up the staff to be doing other stuff, rather than being overwhelmed right now.
Yeah, Cami Salter has been doing the payroll, and it is just an overwhelming proposition and probably better uses of her
She's capable
time
of
and
doing other
skills.
things, so it
Yeah.
doesn't require a reduction
Yeah.
or anything.
Yeah.
So let me just say this, so her role right now is payroll specialist, okay? You will still have to have someone in a coordination role here. One of the biggest risk I feel to the city of Homewood is relative to payroll and also HR. Think about any entity that you all work with, and I would be willing to bet you have an HR director, right? We have nobody managing HR, right? So what this system is, and when you do that, what happens is you leave the management of HR to the individual department heads. And once you do that, what you lack then all of a sudden is consistency, okay, as far as the training of associates. So what we're looking at doing basically is we're looking at taking an in-house software system currently embedded in Encode. We're gonna upgrade Encode and we're gonna reallocate those resources to an external software system. But what that external software system is gonna do, it's gonna provide more functionality. It'll bring in timekeeping and tracking, right? It'll also bring in an onboarding and an offboarding process, and it will also bring in expense reporting to where the expense reports or reimbursements will be embedded in that. But the risk here is in the compliance. I want you to think W-2s, right? I want you to think 940s. I want you to think 941s. I want you to think ACAs, okay? All of that right now is being done by a payroll specialist, right? We've got some good people in finance, but what we don't have is we don't have what I would say is a complete, right, finance department. We are lacking in the subject matter expertise relative to compliance, and that is what this will give us.
So those are all the HR functions that you just described that.
Yes.
Okay.
And when it comes to IRS penalties, payroll penalties are the steepest, and that's gonna be your biggest exposure.
And I will say, in our interviews with the candidates last week, all of them pretty much asked across the board, what things are you most focusing on in terms of a city manager? And I think without doubt, we all said HR, because we have a lot of employees and we don't have an HR department. And so we all know that this is something that's.
Yeah, I think once we have a city manager in place, I don't think we want to impose anything on that
No.
person, but I think that will be a discussion that will happen quickly after we have someone.
Yeah. All right, so, like we said, the only motion here is to approve, is to set the bid date for February 10th and approve, putting out the RFP.
Second.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion from Mr. Brandt, second from Mr. Gwaltney. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 4-0, that is approved. Ooh, fancy. All right, 170125, request to consider the appointment of a city manager pursuant to the provision of Alabama Code Section 114320 from myself. This is a requirement of the statute that we have to do this. We have to pass it in a certain time period, no less than 30 days, no more than 60 days. And in order to satisfy the timeline that the committee created, which was the hope of having somebody in here on March 1, we have to pass that tonight in council meeting. So, and that is simply allows the council to hire a city manager, as we discussed, for that interim role. Once the new council get here, they'll make their decisions on how they want to proceed. It is a resolution, yes, Mike?
Yes.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's an ordinance, it's an ordinance, yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. All right, motion from Mr. Waltney.
Second.
Second from Mr. Harden. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0 going out to council, and then we already have the approval for 180125, so
Ms.
with.
Smith,
Yeah.
before you adjourn.
Oh, certainly.
This isn't an item on the agenda, I just want to keep y'all up to date on something. After many years of service, John Morgan has announced his retirement from the courts department. We are already interviewing for a new person in that position, and I'll be coming back to you with that probably pretty soon. But just wanted to thank John for, and I'll do it tonight as well out there, but just to give you all a heads up, he's put in for his retirement, and we thank you for his years of service.
All right, thank you,
Ms.
Mayor.
Smith,
Yes.
also, I have one that, Mr. Jamie Hope, who is my park maintenance landscape superintendent, will be retiring effective February 1st.
Jamie can retire?
So, yeah, he's got 31 years. in.
Oh,
So, he will
Can we
be,
bribe him to stay? I love that man.
I tried.
He is
I've
so
been
good.
working on that since he talked to me in December.
Oh,
so.
man. Oh, he will be greatly missed.
His last day will be with us officially will be Wednesdays. He's gonna take us 2 days of vacation. He's earned Thursday and Friday, so
Oh,
he's
wow.
done. So.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, there you go.
He's done.
All right. Well, with those two announcements, we are officially adjourned.
Brian, you good? Public Works Committee meeting for January 27, 2025. Councilor Wolverton.
Here.
Gear. Sims.
Here.
Nelms.
Here.
And Harden.
Here.
Full house, Andrew.
All right. We have all 5. Can I have a motion to dispense the reading and approval of minutes from January 6th?
Second?
All right, was that Nelms? Okay.
Yes.
All right, motion by Counselor Nelms, second by Counselor Gear. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0, Bo. We have no old business. New business is 060125, request permission to install up to 14 parking spaces and up to 3 tree wells in the right-of-way at 2703 19th Place South from Twin Construction and Cale Smith. You're on.
Thank you. And William's here, and he's gonna talk more than I am, but I'll just introduce. This is at the old Creative Dog Training, a couple blocks away. And William, you want to
Yeah,
share?
that's fine. This is the current survey, so this building right here is an old, what I call a Butler building, but just an ugly steel building. What we would like to do, instead of renovating it, we'd like to tear it down and do a new 2-story structure. Jared Bussey has created a site plan and some renderings for us, which should be on the next slides.
Oh, wow.
So this would be directly across from Trish's Treasures. So if you know kind of where we're talking about, so it's at the end of that street. Again, it was Creative Dog Training. So this is the street as you go down 19th Place South. What we would like to do is it's zoned C4A, which is retail on the main level and commercial space up. We want to move our offices to upstairs, and the downstairs would be retail area. To do that, we're requesting that we get some parking off the street. And so what we're proposing to do is use part of the right-of-way and part of our property to create some additional parking on the front. We know that we want some landscaping, so we're gonna try to create some landscape wells along the way. And we're not trying to max it out, but we're looking to get some parking spaces in the front. This would be the visual from the front down there, which would allow the retail spaces to have parking in the front, commercial spaces to have parking in the rear, and employee parking in the rear. That's the perspective view there, so.
What's the sidewalk situation? There's no sidewalks.
There is a sidewalk
I
there.
don't think there's any sidewalks.
Yeah, I mean, is that just?
Yeah, we can look existing. I don't know if there's any sidewalks right there or
There's
not.
not.
I mean, there will be
There's
a
a sidewalk on
sidewalk.
the street, yeah.
With the new trail.
That's the building there, so you actually need to come around. That's
Yeah,
the
I was
back
gonna
of the
say, what,
building.
Yeah, that's what it looks like currently.
you're on the back side of the building, I
Yeah.
think.
You're gonna tear that
Brian?
whole, everything down.
That will go completely.
Can you get on the
That
other
is
side of the building,
proposal.
Brian?
Are you tearing down the front building also?
Yeah, it's two Butler buildings that are attached. I'll show you right there. So there's a front one that had a brick veneer, but it's still just a steel structure, and then there's a bigger back one. Both of those will go. And so the street parking that we're talking about will be right here, and the building will come all the way across. Because what we'd like to do is put the bulk of the parking in the back. Right now, it's on the side lot.
Will y'all be the only commercial tenant with y'all's offices upstairs?
We're
or-
planning to take the entire
The entire
upstairs.
upstairs, okay.
I was gonna say, what was the business gonna be again? I'm sorry.
We don't have leases yet on the downstairs. We may take a portion of that for some of the stuff that we sell for furniture and things like that, but we wouldn't need the entire downstairs, so we don't have leases for the downstairs space. The upstairs, again, would be
Y'all.
twin construction, whatever.
Gotcha.
That stuff. So.
Related to this item, in similar circumstances where businesses have asked to build parking in the right of way, like Robertson Bank, which is not too far away, when that's happened, we've just made it clear that
Those
the
are
parking won't be restricted to that business
100%.
itself.
Kale's
Okay.
mentioned that. Yes, that's understood.
Thank you.
Yeah, we would not put signage saying, don't park here.
So I was wondering, there is a sidewalk there,
Yeah.
but you're talking about putting parking right here.
Yeah, the parking would be here. Technically, the sidewalk would end up in front of the building,
Between the parking and the building.
between the parking and the building. Thank you.
I will say, I don't think that,
There-
it doesn't connect to anything.
There's
It
no
doesn't.
sidewalk, there's a bunch of street parking.
Yeah.
And if you turn around, there you go, if you turn around, all this has front-loaded parking all the way down already. So
Yeah, I
really,
mean, that's really the only segment of sidewalk on that whole
It's the only
street, and
one.
it doesn't connect to anything. It's kinda weird, actually.
There's a storm in the, Brian, swipe to the left there just a little bit. Just,
Yeah,
You'll
we'll
just
have site
relocate the main,
engineering
yeah.
done, all that'll get submitted to Kale for review.
gotcha.
Yeah, we'll hire engineers for all that stuff.
okay. All right.
Kale, could you, I'm
What's your
sorry,
last name?
not
Siegel?
Brian, could you
S-I-E?
toggle back to the site
G-E-L.
plan, the proposed site plan again? Perfect. Just wanted to look at that one more time. Yes, and you can see the sidewalk now. And the three tree wells are in between then, in those islands?
Well, there'll be a partial one here, 1, 2, and then a partial one at the top, so, and that hadn't been final design, I think we're saying.
Up to 3 tree wells and up to 14
Parking spaces. The point is, we didn't wanna rack that out with parking, we wanna break it up and have some areas for landscaping in between. So-
Okay.
But that would be, part of that would be in the right of way, of course, we'll maintain it and all that.
And-
But the tree wells would come out.
And the reason I ask that too is because if we send out a motion to work in the right of way, I believe Mr. Kendrick, you will need a plan, is that right? Or,
I have the plan that he's showing you.
okay.
That's all I have.
But if it changes, do we need to have language in there that says,
How
For-
will it change?
What do you mean?
well,
You said it's preliminary.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
we're just right now voting
in
on
general.
whether they can do parking right away. We're not voting on their.
So-
okay, but I mean, should we have language in there that the, final plan pending approval of,
Well, it's all dependent on the permit.
Okay.
Inspection.
Okay.
Everything, all construction has to have a permit, they have to approve.
So just to clarify, Cale, he mentioned some zoning. This plan is allowed by the current zoning for the property? Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion to send it to council.
All right. Motion by Counselor Nelms,
Somebody seconded it.
I did. Second.
second by Counselor Harden. Sorry, I didn't hear it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so that is 5-0, Bo. And with that, we stand adjourned.
Special Issues Committee meeting, January 27th, 2025. Counselor Sims.
Here.
Gear.
Here.
Allemon. Here. Smith.
Here.
Andrews.
Here.
Full.
All right, thanks so much. So the meeting minutes from January 6th were sent out previously by Bo.
Motion to approve?
All right.
Second.
Great. So that's a motion by Counselor Smith, seconded by Counselor Allemon. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks. There's no old business, new business, 070125, request for permission for facility use agreement for the plaza for Taste of Homewood, Shay Gartman, Chamber of Commerce, and JJ Bischoff. So this is just a request from the chamber to use the plaza out front for Taste of Homewood for, I think, probably, how many years has this been now? 22. So just a standard request. So Shay sent in what we need as far as insurance and provided other information in order to progress with signing the agreement. Is there anything else, Shay, you want to tell us? You want to remind everybody when Taste of Homewood is?
March the 13th.
All right.
Everybody knows because I accidentally,
Told everybody, sent us
sent an invite to everybody.
and I would make a motion to approve signing agreement.
Right.
Just trying to help Shay.
I redid it.
All right, that's a motion to approve from Counselor Smith, seconded by Counselor Allemon. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes 5-0. Thanks. All right, 080125, request to accept the 23-24 annual stormwater report to submit to 8M. Wyatt Pugh, building official.
Pardon me. So, you probably remember earlier this year, or late last year, having to sign approve the stormwater plan. This is the annual report. So each year we have a stormwater plan that the city has to accept, and then a stormwater annual report. It's prepared for us by the county health department, pretty much, with a little bit of input from us, and then it's put together. It's needs to be submitted to ADM no later than day after tomorrow. So I need to get the signed approval sheet over to them quickly, but that's what this is.
All right,
So this will go out to council tonight for approval. So if there's any questions from anybody on council, now's definitely the time to answer
there
so
any-
that we can get it
any
signed
catastrophic
to
things that
8
we
a.m.
need to
tomorrow.
know?
I mean, day after
There's
tomorrow.
nothing of note.
okay, okay.
This is, it's pretty run.
Standard,
Pretty
okay.
standard.
All right, well, I would make a motion to accept the stormwater report so that you can submit that to ADM on time.
All right, that's a motion by Counselor Smith and seconded by Counselor Andrus. All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
You could
that-
say Counselor Gear, though, that's not.
It's approved 5-0. So if there's not any other discussion, then special issues is adjourned.
Meeting for January 27th, 2025. Counselor Andrus.
Here.
Gwaldney.
Here.
Wolverton.
Here.
Sims.
Here.
Nelms.
Here.
All here.
Okay. Full house. Okay, I'll begin with a motion to dispense the reading and approve the minutes from our last meeting of December 9th, 2024.
Second.
All right, Counselor Nelms with the motion and a second from Counselor Gwaltney. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that passes 5-0. We have no old business. For new business 090125, request to consider annexation into the city of Homewood for 1749 Columbiana Road, Jim Hoy Homes, Bo Seco City Clerk. Do we have Jim here, Mr. Hoy here?
Go for it.
No?
I told him, I sent him an email that we were having a meeting tonight.
Did you say what time?
Yes, yeah,
think
I
it's
confirmed, I
about
confirmed, I
12.
confirmed.
He
I
asked him to
confirmed.
just guess.
I confirmed it.
It's tomorrow night. You choose when.
Let me-
Present, I
let me
assume
look at-
everyone here is here to talk
Yes.
about this. Okay, I would like
I see
somebody
that.
from Jim Hoy Homes to present what,
Do we have a
Well-
contact? Do we have his number to touch
Hang on.
base with him?
Can I ask a quick question? What about 1744 Shades Crest? The lot next to it?
I just have 1749 Columbiana Road on my agenda.
I have a number.
See, there's two that he owns.
This is all I have on my agenda right here, so that would all be, that would be the only thing that we would be considering.
You want me to call him back?
Yeah, yeah, I've got the email here. that I
That would be
sent.
the last lot.
You wanna call him?
It's actually not, some of the neighbors aren't Homewood neighbors on the left side. It's, county.
Really? Wow.
No, but I mean, they don't know.
Right, no, I
Woodbine
yeah,
is
but
the
the-
and the
full
director here
last
is
row of
presenting.
Homewood.
What I'm
Yes.
saying is.
Which is the one in front of
I would like
us.
it presented. before we move on.
Well, I would
Yes.
agree. I mean, I would agree.
Without somebody here to present this, I don't feel like we can hear.
It's up to you as to how you want to handle it.
Let me tell you, procedurally, this property is adjacent to Vestavia also, so we have to publish this and have a hearing 90 days later if you want to. So it's not something you can, all you can do is set the public hearing line if you choose to do that.
Yeah, I don't think there's, I know this is going to be an item that there is some opposition to.
Yes.
To say the least.
My point is, I feel like
and-
the issue needs to be presented as,
And I'm
before we hear
perfectly
any
fine with
opposition.
that. What I'm saying is, don't feel any pressure to set the public hearing or do anything tonight. I
Correct.
think you ought to hear both sides, whether it's tonight or some other night, on this issue before you get to the point of setting a public hearing
That's
and
correct.
publishing and sort of getting down that road when you may want to hear from both sides, and in particular the opposition first.
I would someone here who's actually presenting the project. I don't feel like it's. Does Kayla?
Well, I don't think we can drop
drop
it.
It doesn't
Drop
come
it.
to us.
He's on,
I don't.
he's on the phone with right now.
Okay.
Annexation doesn't go to the planning commission.
It comes to us.
So I mean, however you want to handle it in terms of carrying it over or hearing tonight.
Yes, I'm so sorry that y'all
Very
said
sorry.
that.
I don't feel comfortable moving forward to hear opposition until I hear what the actual project is from the person who's.
Yeah, and,
Bo has got him on the phone.
yeah, but
But he's
but I
not
mean,
here.
we're not,
He's not here, so I'm,
Can you explain to us what the next step is to make sure we
he
get
will need to come back to this committee and present just exactly like he should have done tonight. This is what, and
And
you all will
that
have
would
it.
be on, that
and
would be on
yes.
February 3rd.
And I
Yeah.
will have, and
Next
I would
Monday.
like to hear from your side before we go to a public hearing, so I want you to speak, I just feel like he needs to be here to present.
Yeah, and I think it'd be good for him to hear them
Before we hear
also.
what that was on this,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming it's opposition, because we've gotten some emails.
Yes.
Susan is the email
okay.
that I
And
forwarded.
that's why I didn't want to
Yeah.
ascribe what you're,
And two, we need to clarify about this lot that he
okay, this is all I have on, this is all that he has sent to the city, is,
Hey, and we can ask
sent
Mike.
to right now. We
Hey.
can.
That's what it said.
I think so. That,
But that, and that's a separate step, going to the planning commission subdivision, you know.
and honestly, I'll say this. If we don't move forward with the annexation, there would be no discussion of the split of the lots, because it would not be our,
Okay,
it would be our thing.
So basically, the first step was annexation into the city.
That's right.
Yeah, because until then, we don't, it's not our property.
Brian, did he send a picture in?
No, the only thing I have,
Oh, that's all. So what did he say?
he
There's four.
misunderstood.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
So,
It was
All right.
will not be
Well.
divided.
All right, and Mike, can you just confirm to us, because, they thought that this was about 2 lots, but there's only one mentioned on
See if you can put this up.
okay.
I mean, I cannot even, it's just like last week.
Come on Monday night.
Exactly, I cannot even.
I'm not sure what you misunderstand about that.
Exactly, I cannot. Exactly.
Yeah.
There wasn't a sign.
Okay, that's the, there's only one leaps and bounds description, it's not divided into lots.
Okay.
So it's just the red,
No, it's
blue.
blue.
It's
okay,
blue.
but it's outlined in red?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
And so Becky, y'all are 1745, so y'all are right down.
Yes, ma'am. So the
Okay.
4 of us
This is the annexation.
are these 4
Oh, I see.
properties.
Okay, y'all are the 4 that are directly
Yes, ma'am.
down.
I'm 1745.
Yeah.
Suzette here is 41. Susan is 37. 1729. So
Okay.
so we are on Woodbine
Woodbine.
Drive.
Right.
Old Columbiana Road is platted, but doesn't actually extend all the way behind my house.
Right.
So it's not improved behind my house. And then we understand from y'all, this request is just about the red outline. But the question that Susan was bringing up is that we understand that the developer also purchased this blue.
Okay.
So he owns this and that, so
But
that's what we were asking about.
his request
It's
to
just
us is
for-
for the annexation
Right.
is just for the red outline,
And
so.
I wonder what he's gonna do with that one.
If he were here.
Right,
Changes.
that's okay.
Ugh.
We can't.
I just
we
don't, I
can't
mean, it's
predict
like,
that, yeah.
comprehend that he's not here, so he's not here.
So
So,
he's not here. So what did he say about it?
we are going to carry this item.
He-
over. We give him
he
an opportunity
misunderstood-
to come
he just misunderstood
next
what-
Monday. I understand the opposition, but I want to hear
Yeah, that's-
the request.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Is the only ingress egress off the
I don't know.
Yes.
Old Columbiana.
Yeah, I mean,
Counselor
No,
Andrews.
it, you know, that Old Columbiana
yeah, he has that.
is beyond, Columbiana.
Oh, this is great.
Okay, I'm gonna, okay.
I just want one.
And it's TER
All right,
Carpenter.
everybody,
Carpenter, yes, sir.
all right, no, everybody, shut up. Hang on. Go ahead, Councilor Wiley. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be.
I do want to clarify, on the Jefferson County GIS map, it does show Vestavia's property, or Vestavia's city line coming into this property.
Yes.
Could be wrong. We know that has been wrong in other situations, but I think he needs to validate
All
from
I know is
Vestavia.
what's attached to this petition.
I'll screenshot this and I guess
That's all
share it with
we have.
somebody.
I just
That
wanted.
was in a problem.
I just wanted to also repeat something I heard to make sure I heard it correctly, because there was a question from the residents about process, and the process is we have to have a presentation in committee first, which we're intending to carry over until February 3rd. And then after that presentation, if it was moved out to council, that would be February 10th. And at that
Set the
time,
hearing.
yes, at that time, a public hearing would be set, and it would need to be advertised for 90 days.
That's right, so it would be
Okay,
late.
so that is the process timeline if things progress. So I
If
just
things
want to,
progress,
okay,
correct.
thank you, I just want to clarify.
And
That's all.
First public hearing you have to be May 24th.
Thank
That's
you.
right. That's correct. Yes, okay, Councilor Nels.
Yes, that's all.
Okay, so without objection, we are gonna carry this item over and reconvene on February the 3rd, and if he is not here on February the 3rd, then we will drop. Okay.
Thank you.
That's it. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm having some snap. I was gonna snap, but just everybody's talking and it's trying to snap together.
So you got to snap.
Oh, I snap, don't I? I snap. Sometimes I snap.
We adjourn.
Okay, yes, we are adjourned. We are adjourned, yes. I cannot, I'm so sorry.